in your emotional, mental body, practice asana. Obviously it's a physical practice, but it's very much more a mental and spiritual practice of sustaining yourself. So not only feel the burn in your legs, but also feel that sense of what are the other skills that you develop to help you stay? Is it your breath? Is it your ability to relax, to find that balance between effort and surrender? All the things that we learn in yoga, play with them in your practice today as we develop this sense of stamina. Okay. All right. So close your eyes for a moment. Once again, think back to a time when you thought you couldn't do something, and turns out you could. Okay. So maybe you fell apart halfway through and got back up on the horse. Maybe you fell apart like 8 times. Maybe you needed someone else to put you back on the horse. So, what is it that helped you go from the beginning to the end of that challenge? So, as you drop into your body now and come into this moment, not that moment, but this moment, know that those reserves are built within you, the echoes of memory of being able to sustain yourself through challenge is in you. So, see if you can rest in trust that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are able to sustain through challenge, that you can meet things with a yielding ground instead of bracing against a wave. Can you sink and let the wave pass through you? Start to notice some of the more subtle skills besides grit that have helped you move through challenge. Grit is a really good thing. You got to muster up the scrapper side of you sometimes. But what else is there? Is there a yielding, a sense of contentment, being able to stay present for what is, regardless of good, bad, or ugly? Is there a capacity for working with the kleshas of non grasping, non avoiding, feeling connected? How do these things play into your capacity to sustain? How about your breath? How does that help you sustain? So reach toward these subtle skills that we're developing in our practice. Drop in to the weight of your pelvis now. Feel the buoyant spine kind of rest like pillow tops up above your pelvis. Melt your neck and shoulders. The ways you hold grit in your body is different than the ways you hold surrender in your body. So find a pocket for each, find a place for each that you can have both. Feel the breath move through you like the wave of challenge moves through you. Can you get used to the feeling of flow? The flow of breath, the flow of energy. Sometimes when we grit our way through something, we block flow. And if we cultivate the capacity to stay in flow, this only enhances our resiliency, our capacity. So be there now. Drop into the surrender, drop into the breath. Feel the energy movement through your body. Place your palms at your heart and bow in. Offer an intention. What do you need some stamina for today? Some stick to itness, some perseverance. And release the hands. And let's come onto our back. All right, so lie down. Let's enjoy the spaciousness of your body. So stretch out. Maybe squeeze all your limbs. Just give that, pendiculation stretch where you squeeze every muscle you have access to, and then relax head all and rest on the floor. Let's do that one more time. Stretch your limbs out. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze everything you can. And then slump onto the floor and relax. Bring your legs and arms more in line with the midline and stretch the right side, stretch the left side. Just come into a sense of openness through your sides. Breathing. And then bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit. Let's sway from side to side. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. All right, and then let's circle. So feel some knee swirls. Go in one direction. And then going another direction. All right knee into the chest, left leg on the floor, extending your spine. Feel some swirls through your feet. Wake things up. Feel the compression in your hip joint. Feel the compression in your knee joint. Squeeze that a little bit. And then let's change sides. Left knee and right leg long. Feel that sense of compression. Draw in, roll around through your ankles, move your feet, wake things up. Wiggle your toes. Feel compressed in your knee and hip. Give it a good squeeze. And then relax. Bring both knees into the chest. Open your knees out and back in. So just warming up the hip joints in some range of motion. All right, I know this is a big movement to do in the beginning, but go ahead and grab your feet and stretch your back. So a happy baby pose. Feel free to rock a little bit. If this is too deep of a flexion in your spine, you can always just grab behind your knees or hold onto your shins and not go so deeply. All right, and just feel that sense of squatting. All right, so as you pull your feet down and push your feet up into your hands, lengthen your spine and see what you can do to restore the neutral curve in your lumbar spine. So instead of just rounding the back into the floor, widen the sit bones and drop the tip of the tailbone toward the ground so the top of the sacrum lifts just a little bit. So find that nutation of the sacrum, extend the spine, and then relax your legs. Put your feet on the floor. Don't stretch your legs out all the way just yet. And windshield wiper your knees left and right. Add the arms if you want. Stretching your arms out, turning your head, just finding the little gentle twisting in the spine, especially after such a deep forward bend. All right, and then open the limbs out wide, stretch to a starfish, navel to edges, and then draw the knees in, chin up this time, round in, and then find it again. Move with the breath. Expand open, exhale, draw in. One more time. Expand open, exhale, draw in. All right, let's roll over onto your side. Come up onto your hands and your knees, and let's start moving through some cat-cows. So feel the spine open and awaken. Lift your head and tail round the spine. Take your time. Noticing the movements. And then let's go ahead and swirl and sway. Swivel your shoulders, swivel your hips, move your head around, just to open things up. Any kind of movement that feels nice in your body. And then stretch back towards child's pose.
Relax here. Relax your forehead. Rock a little bit side to side. Put your arms in a comfortable place. They can be up, they can be down. Breathing here.
And let's walk the hands over to the left side of your mat.
And drop weight into the pelvis. Relax your forehead. Open the ribs. Are you in your practice now? So the way we warm up is not just about opening the physical body. It's very much about opening the physical body, but it's setting the tone for being present with your breath, dropping into the center of your being, sloughing off what's outside of yourself, the to-do list, what came before, what's coming later. Just allow yourself to drop into the sanctuary of your practice.
Come back up onto all fours. Reach the arm, right arm up in the air. Slide that shoulder down and find your twist. Gaze toward the floor. Let the neck and shoulders be soft and relaxed. Finding the breath. And inhale. Reach that arm all the way up. Place the hand down. Switch sides. Arm up. Slide arm through. Gaze toward the floor. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then inhale. Reach that arm all the way back up and place the hand down. Curl the toes under. And let's find dog pose. So now we get to be in our full length. See what it feels like. Feel free to pedal out your feet. Open up the calves a little bit. You can move slowly or quickly. What's helping you? Try to enter into all parts of your body. Feel the yielding of hands and feet. Rebound through the shoulders, the hips, all the way up to the pelvis. Feel the reach through your shoulders. Relax your head. Hug your hands a little bit toward each other so that you strengthen some muscles along your torso to help with your posture. Deep breaths here. What feels good? What's able to melt? Can you drop your head? Can you melt all the brains inside your skull? How's your breath? And then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Relax the back. See what you can do to open things up. Perhaps you're tucking your chin. Bend your knees as much as you want. And wag your tail. And then halfway lift. Hold your thighs, press them back. Lift your sit bones. Stretch the spine. Feel the legs. Invigorate. Lift your arches up to your groins. And then melt again. Bend your knees. Push off your feet to stand up. Coming up, reaching the arms to the sky. Open up your body. If you're dizzy, pause. Okay. Find your breath. If you are dizzy when you come up, always find that little squeeze toward the midline. You can draw your fists toward each other, tuck your chin. You can even cross one thigh over a thigh and squeeze. Take a breath. Reach your arms up and out. Big open heart. Enjoy the open heart. See if you can just pause here for a moment. Let your neck relax. Stretch all the way through to your palms. Invite. Just invite. Invite the day in. Invite the breath in. What's coming to you today? Can you bring it? Can you accept it? Even if it's a challenge, can you be open to it? And release your hands down. Interlace your hands behind your back. Open your chest. Bend your knees. And come forward with your arms away from your spine. Dangle your neck around. Let it be soft. Unwind the elbows. See if you can take the lock away. Release your hands down to the floor. Halfway lift. Spine gets longer again. Exhale and melt. Step your left foot back, lunging. Enjoy. Blocks are so nice if you need them. Okay, so just enjoy. We're moving into our legs now. Enjoy the feeling of opening the hip flexors on that back leg. Stretch your heart forward. Let's start to move a little bit here. Straightening the front leg and bending the front leg. Moving with breath. Opening up the hamstring. Opening up the hip flexors of the back leg. See what your head wants to do. Do you want to tuck your chin toward your chest? Just come into your body. Come into the breath. Remember the subtleties of stamina. The ability to relax,
to conserve and use your energy wisely, to stay in the flow of your breath and the flow of your energy, to yield into the floor and receive something back from the earth. These are all aspects of strength that aren't just grit your muscle into tight binds. All right, so find your lunge here, root into the earth, discover some of those things, the flow, the rest, the yielding. When you're ready, come up, find your way. You can put your arms anywhere you want your arms to be. So just find the spot that feels best for your body. Where can you relax? Stay in the flow of your breath. Feel the yielding in your feet. So enjoy, your legs are so strong. There are so many strong muscles and they love to work. So bring blood flow here now. So direct your blood flow into your strong muscles in your legs. Feed yourself some breath. Feel free to change your arm position. Sometimes being able to sustain means just having a slight change, a little change of perspective, a little change of strength. Twist when you're ready. Coming off to the side. Arms can be anywhere you want. Invigorate some strength now in the center body. Waking up some of the core. Feel your diaphragm move. Let your shoulders relax. And then come back up. Maybe arms come up, maybe they come down, maybe they interlace, whatever feels good. Stay in the legs, root. And then walk your hands onto the block, bring your back foot forward and come into Uttanasana. Pause until things start to balance out, left and right, melt down. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and release toward the floor again. Step your other foot back, coming into a lunge on this side. Reach your heart forward, finding the breath. Find the lunge. Just enjoy here for a moment before we start to move. And then let's start to move. So straightening and bending your front knee, breathing as you go. See what kind of slow or fast pace you're in the mood for. Try to access flow. Try to access movement of breath, movement of energy. Connect into the earth. What part of your body does not have to work? Can you relax your neck and shoulders, the muscles around your face? All right, let's come into a lunge when you're ready. Sustain yourself. Root your feet down, rise up. So if balance is your issue, take your body further, left and right out. If sustaining through muscular strength is an issue, back out a little bit. Come out of your lunge just a little bit. If joint pain is here, there's ways for you to sustain poses while supporting joints. So you can always have your knee up against something in a lunge or any standing pose so that you have pressure against the joint so you can stay, you can sustain yourself. Who said sustaining yourself has to be self-sustaining? Sometimes we need support, okay? Find your breath. When you're ready, whatever you're doing, let's twist to the side. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Find some place that's very soft in the body. Bring the flow of your breath in. Feel the yielding. Root your feet, rise out of your feet. Feel that push-pull, that give and take. Find the breath. Melt the shoulders again. Feel the flow. Feel the skin relax. Feel the strength of your legs. Rise back up to a neutral place. No more twisting. Maybe a different perspective with your arms. Sustain your legs. Root. If you need support, take it. If you need to pop out and back in, that's available to you as well. Sometimes just changing the arm position is enough to help us stay and sustain in a leg position. Finding the breath here. All right, let's bring our hands down onto the ground. Step your front foot back, dog pose. About now, dog pose starts to feel a bit more restful. See if you can center yourself, come into balance left and right. Even things out. Big breath in, big breath away. Come forward into a plank. If your wrists are not happy in plank, you always can come down into a forearm plank instead. So you can put your forearms on the ground if need be. All right, so find the breath. You can always put your knees down onto the floor if your shoulders are not capable of sustaining body weight. So detach as much as we're working with stamina, detach from result. So part of being able to sustain ourselves is not looking toward the fruits of our labors. So don't let the ego attach on to anything. If you need to put your knees down, put your knees down and then try again, or stay there. Sustain where you are. Come into the flow of your breath. Come into the flow of the energy. Feel where you're yielding. Give yourself some softness somewhere. Usually your ears don't have to work hard. Okay, so find a place that you always can have a go-to for softness to ripple outward. Okay, let's put our knees down onto the floor and slowly drop your weight down. Come into a gentle cobra pose. So pushing off your hands, shoulders are down away from the ears. Exhale and come back down. Stretch your legs on the floor. Move your pelvis and thighs into the earth. Stabilize your low back with your core and then rise up. Don't go too far. Try not to compress the spine. Open the front body. Feel the extension from pubic bone to sternum without compressing the back body. And then exhale and relax and come back down. Up onto all fours, maybe back to child's pose. Maybe you go right to dog pose. Eventually, everybody come to dog pose. Deep breaths. Dog pose is such a beautiful pose of repose. Feel this. Feel the inversion, the restoration of the inversion, the ease of breathing. Even though there's work in your shoulders and your body, can you feel the ease that comes from the head below the heart, that melting that can happen? Come into the sanctuary inside yourself. Let's lift the right leg up in the air, stack open the hip, feel some space there. And then realign so the pelvis is broad, the hips are even. Take a deep breath in, exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, plant your foot forward. Come to a lunge. So take that adjustment any way you need to get there. So if you need to drop the back knee, that's fine. Come on up and we're going to turn and open to the side. So come into Virabhadrasana. Okay, so here we are. Now, once again, if you need to support yourself with a block, you can stick a block against a piece of furniture so that you can find your way in the posture with some support. This is a really helpful way of practicing if what gets in your way is joint pain. So you don't want to mess with joint pain. It's not the type of grit that we're looking for. The sustainability of your posture comes from knowing that your strength is healthy strength, that your physical strength is coming from a healthy place. Back away. Your pose can be right here. It does not have to have a deep bend in the knee, and you can have a deep bend in the knee. So find what you're looking for. Breathe deeply. Where are you sustainable? Maybe your arms have to come down to be sustainable. Maybe you need to soften the back knee and turn the pelvis a little bit to be sustainable. What's going to give you the sense of flow, where you have that capacity to move energy down into your limbs, down in your legs, and pull it back up from the earth? How is your skin? Can you soften? Are your neck and shoulders trying to take over? Can you melt them? Can you feel the flow of your breath? Come into flow. Give yourself over to earth. Feel free to come out and back in if you need a moment, a rest, a pit stop. Breathing. As you stay, what kind of wiggles do you have? What kind of this is starting to bother me, I need to change something. Notice if your change if the need for change is just the mind feeling in the box, or if your body really needs to change. Stay in the flow, drop the shoulders, sustain yourself here somehow. Work with all those subtle tools. All right, and then
Straighten your leg, relax your arms for a moment. We're coming right back, okay? So back into Virabhadrasana 2. We won't be here as long. Drop the shoulders. Let's find a reverse. Stretch open, enjoy the side body. Okay. And then straighten your leg. Again, triangle pose. So maybe a block, maybe not a block. Some people have a love-hate relationship with this posture, so make sure you're not cranking on your SI joints. The higher up you go in this pose, the more gentle it is for your pelvis. So find the place that's helping you. Forget about squeezing yourself between two panes of glass. This is way unnecessary and unhealthy for the SI joints. Feel free to let that back hip turn a little bit. Find a place where your pelvis, your SI joints feel pliable, mobile, free, and not in locked up, pinned down mode. Where is your sustainability of your energy? Breathe. Feel the flow, soften your skin. You can hug muscle to bone and still have a sense of surrender through your skin. Root into the foot. Try not to hyperextend your knee. It's very easy to kind of like lean in the joints. Try not to do so. Okay, and then go ahead and come on up. Turn your feet to the long edge and come back to the short edge and come back to dog pose. Take your hands and find your way back. Okay. Deep breaths here, extending through the spine. Bend your knees a little bit if you want to. Come forward into a plank. Hold steady. Melt in the elbows. Try not to lock out your joints. Okay, so shoulder blades stay stable on the back. Feel the core on your exhales. Release something. Your jaw probably doesn't have to work very hard in this pose. What's helping you stay? When you start to shake, just think of it as the body's applause. Clapping the hands for you, for your efforts. Good job, the body's saying. You can do it. Okay, and then go ahead and slide your knees to the floor. See how slowly you can come down onto the ground. So elbows stay close to the body, heads of the arm bones away from the floor. So resist the floor with the heads of the arm bones. Slowly sustain your core muscles and come down as slowly as you can. Take a deep breath, cobra pose. Try not to smush the low back. Exhale and melt back down. Pause here for a moment. Turn your head. Let your arms be where they want to be and melt everything down. Surrender everything. Okay, let's come back. Find your way, maybe all fours, maybe child's pose, all the way up to dog pose when you're ready. So there's various ways to get up there. Some people like to go into a deep pose like child's pose first. Some people don't. Check in with your back and see what's nice for you. Start to trust yourself. Okay, so what's right? What feels right? So you don't have to only trust yourself. You can trust yourself first and then seek guidance. Okay, but don't give your trust over beyond, keep it with yourself as much as you can. Reach the leg up, left leg up in the air, stack the left hip over the right hip. There's not a single person in the world who can understand what it feels like to be inside your body, inside your mind, inside your spirit. As much as you might try to share that information, really no one knows. So you are your best resource. Squaring the hips, take a deep breath, knee to nose. Inhale, bring it back. Exhale, bring your foot forward. Come to a lunge. Extend through your spine. Come on up. And let's turn and open up to Virabhadrasana 2 on the other side. So Notice, how we do a lot of the same poses often, especially now because the repertoire has shrunk when we're not together for safety reasons. But everything's different. You can do Virabhadrasana too with such different focuses on any given day. So enjoy what we're doing today, finding a sense of stability where we can sustain. So know if you need to put your knee up against something, know if you need to back away or go deeper, find just the right place. So depth is not better. Don't let the ego say, "Oh, I have to go deep. I need to do the deepest pose I can do." Do the most sustaining pose you can do. And that can mean different things on different days, different positions with legs and arms. Trust yourself. Drop your shoulders. Feel the ease in your neck. Relax your skin. Feel the flow of your breath. Come into the energy flow. Can you yield into the earth and rebound? Do you need to allow your pelvis to turn a little bit for ease across your sacrum? How are your muscles in your legs? Are you giving them everything they can? Are you pulling all of them into play? So if you feel like your quads are doing all the burning, press your front heel down to make your hamstring and glute work a little bit more extra. Okay, so there's always ways to make different muscle groups power up if they're being lazy. Okay, so try to sustain by using all your muscles. How are you trying to wiggle out of it? What can you do to stay? Melt something, breathe something. And then let's go ahead and come out of the pose. Find your breath. Come back in. Virabhadrasana 2. Maybe something slightly different. Okay. Find what's working for you. Relax. Come into the flow. Yield. Reach the arm up. Open up through the side of your body. Full breaths here. Stay in your lunge. Root your feet. And then rise up, straighten the leg, and come into triangle pose. So different, right? We don't have bent legs, so our quads are working differently now. What kind of movement is helping you? Do you want to go deeper, less deep? Can you root your 2 feet? Where do you need your arms to be? Does your pelvis feel comfortable, or are you tugging at it? So, in days long ago, the cueing was squeeze yourself between 2 panes of glass, become like a chicken bone. How I thought that was ever a good thing, I don't know, but I've learned better. So hopefully we all have learned a little bit better that treating your joints with respect and care is one of the best things you can do for your longevity. All right, let's go ahead and come on up and out of the pose. Now let's turn to the long edge so our feet stay wide. All right, so turn your feet out. We're gonna come in and out of goddess a couple of times and then stay. So arms come up wherever you want them to be. Take a deep breath, exhale, and come. So, I don't know if you have, I'm sure you have left-right discrepancies. For me, my right knee is not always so happy, so I instantly lean into my left side. So what do? How do you habitually move? And then can you change that? Once you find your habit, can you try to balance yourself out? Okay, so a couple of movements, arms up, exhale. Let's just do one breath, one movement. Let's do that one more time. All right, now we're gonna stay. So once again, you can have your hands on your hips, you can put your hands on your legs, palms anywhere you want them to be. You can be high, you can be super low. I can't go super low, it bothers my knee to go super low. So just go where you're comfortable. Feel your feet, spin your drawer lids, if you know what that means, feel the roots of your feet. Find all your muscles in your legs. Try to notice if you've got some 360 around your legs working hard. So it shouldn't just be your quads. Your glutes, your hamstrings, your inner thighs, your outer hips all should be sharing. Melt the shoulders. Finding the breath.
try to stay. What can you do? Maybe closing your eyes gives you a sense of deep harmony inside. Stay in the flow. All right, let's come out of pose. Turn your legs straight and come down to rest in some straight leg variation of Pasrita. So you can have your arms out in front of you. You can have your hands on blocks. You can have your hands on the floor. So whatever is sustaining to you, relax your body. Breathe. Thigh bones are moving back. Shin bones are moving forward. Try not to let your legs fall. They're still active. Lift your quads so the kneecaps lift. Thigh bones move back. Spread out the bones of your feet. Power your neck and shoulders. Can you melt? Find the deep breath. And then when you're ready, turn back toward dog pose. Find the front of your mat again. Extend through the spine. Full breaths in here. Come forward one more time. Third time's charm when it comes to a plank. All right, so find that sense of stability. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Melt your face. Melt the base of your skull. Sink the energy into the legs, into the core. Sustain yourself. Find your energy flow. Find your breath flow. Relax somewhere. And then we're going to put our knees down and slowly melt toward the floor. Go as slow as you can. Heads of the arm bones. Lift, lift, lift away. Resist the floor on the way down. And then any back bend of your choice. So maybe you don't want to do a cobra. You'd rather do something different. And then once again, give yourself over to the earth. Turn your head the other way from what you did before. Let's go ahead and find our way up. Dog pose with, all fours with some movement of the spine. And then child's pose, if it feels nice, feel the compression. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and come on up. You can just walk forward or you can come into dog pose and then walk forward. Fold into Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and release. Back down. Push off the floor and rise up. Find Tadasana. So find your feet where you want them to be. Close your eyes. Something as simple as sustaining good posture sometimes can be requiring a lot of perseverance. So how much of the day do you find yourself slumping, especially when you're sitting, but even when you're standing? It takes some resiliency to keep your energy channels open. So find Tadasana, yield into the earth. Find the feet giving way, softness in the knees. Lift your quads a little bit so you're not totally engaged where you're, hyperextending your knees, but have some activity. Have a little bit of movement as if you're anticipating about to jump so that there's a little activity in your legs. Okay, now from here, we're going to keep your arms down at your sides for a moment and you're just going to come down like a chair, but in a weird way. Okay, so because we're not using our arms just yet. Situate your pelvis. So notice your spine. Is your back in a neutral curve? I hope so. So let's look for that. So we don't want a rounded spine. We don't want an overarched spine, a neutral spine. So usually that means when we squat, we have to take our femur bones back. So pause as if you're about to sit in a chair and the chair got taken away and you're waiting for somebody to bring the chair back. Put your arms anywhere you want them to be. If your joints bother you, stick a block between your thighs. Having something against your knee joints or close there too can be very helpful in helping you sustain muscular strength while not overbearing on joints. Okay, so you decide where your arms want to be. Okay, so many choices. Weight in the heels. Find the breath. Keep the neutral curve. Deep breaths in. Melt the shoulders. Close the eyes if you can. If your balance allows, close the eyes. Go inward. Find that sustainable state. Melt the shoulders again and again and again and again. Feel the exhales soften your skin. Give weight into your legs. So if your hamstrings and glutes get lazy, push your heels. Activate the back legs so your quads and inner thighs aren't doing all the work. Do you like one leg more than the other, or do you lean? And then stand up straight, arms coming to the sky. Open yourself up and take the block out of there. One last big leg thing we're going to do. We're just going to come into a squat. So same, if you know that your knees bother you in squats, you can take a squat with your butt against the wall. Okay, so there's lots of things for you to do to help you sustain yourself. Don't think that you have to always do everything on your own. All right, so come into a squat. We're holding this. We're keeping our hips in line or above our knees. So try not to come into garland pose. We're not dropping all the way down into a deep squat. This is also very good for you, but not what we're looking for today. Okay, so have the elbows inside the knees. Activate the legs. Push the feet into the floor. Lift the arches up. Hug into your elbows with your inner thighs. Find the breath. You can do all sorts of different things with your arms. Palms can stay at your heart. You can bring your arms out to the side. You can bring your arms forward. Sink into your seat a bit. Feel the feet. Finding the breath. Relax your neck and shoulders. Soft skin. All right, and then come on up. Open your body, lean back a little bit if it feels nice. Bring your feet together, come forward. Come down onto your knees. Have a cat-cow. Just enjoy the spine. You have a choice in this next pose. We're gonna just stretch our quads because that was a lot of quad work. So we're gonna take our right foot forward, left knee comes onto the ground. Just stretch your hip flexor first. Feel free to come up and twist a little bit if you like. Finding the breath. And now we're going to turn this into a quad stretch. So you can do a plan B. So you can, there's three different choices. You can take your left hand onto the floor, reach your right hand behind you and grab your foot. That's plan A. Plan B, and you can always use blocks under your hands. Plan B is to reach with your left hand and grab your left foot. Plan C, nothing's better than anything else. Stand up and grab your thigh or grab your foot. You can also do all three of these plans with a strap around your ankle to help you if you can't get your heel close enough to your buttocks. Okay, so there's always variations to be had. Whatever you're doing, open the chest, stretch the knee, move the tailbone toward the knee, stabilize the pelvis. Deep breath into this quad stretch. All right, and then go ahead and relax that. And let's come to the second side. So start just in a lunge. You can come up, put your hand on your knee, cross your forearm over. Just a little baby twist in there can sometimes feel good. Still hugging toward the midline, rooting into the earth. Deepening the breath, stay in the flow. Okay, and then we're going to find A, B, or C. Okay, so you decide where you're going to be for this quad stretch. If you can't reach your foot, use a strap. You can use your pant legs if you have pants on. All right, so open your chest, breathe deeply, root into your foot. If you're in this variation, root your big toe into the ground. If you're standing up, feel the stability of your standing leg. Whatever you're doing, the chest is broad. The breath is deep. The skin melts. Stay in your flow. All right, and then release and come out of there. And let's come into child's pose, but bring your legs together. So touch your knees, see if that feels good. Just drop into some rest. If this isn't a nice pose for you, flip over onto your back and bring your knees to your chest. Breathe deeply. So sometimes the sustainability is having to hold a pose that is difficult from a strength perspective. Sometimes the sustainability comes from having to hold a pose where the stretch is difficult to maintain. So we're going to come into pigeon pose. If you need reverse pigeon pose, take reverse pigeon pose. Use any kind of props that you need. Lately, I switch gears on this, but lately I've been putting a couple of blankets underneath my thigh and my pelvis. So long fold, hot dog fold of the blankets. We're going to take our right leg forward. And I like to do this because my thigh and my sit bone, so my sit bone of my front leg, my thigh of my back leg are supported. So I like that. You can also just put something underneath your sit bone, or maybe you're on the floor and you don't need support. If you are in reverse pigeon pose, rest your spine on the floor. Let's go ahead and find our way into the depth of the posture. So squaring the hips, internally rotating the back leg, stretch that leg, extend the spine, widen the sit bones, and then have support if you can under your head, like I'm doing with a block here at any height, so that you have the ability to teach the body to let go. When there's support, we let go. So having the forehead supported on block or hands, maybe you have your elbows on the block and you're resting your head in your palms. There's all sorts of ways to stack up whatever you need to get to the height of where your body needs to be at rest. Melt through your neck and shoulders. Find your flow. Notice if this is sustainable for your knee, for your hip, your SI joint, your ankle. Do you need to shift something? You can mess around with the angles, bringing your foot close to your pubic bone, pulling your foot away from your pubic bone, knee closer into midline, knee further away from midline. Find where your sweet spot is. Melt the neck and shoulders. Come back out of there and choose how you want to come out. Maybe dog pose with your leg up, maybe swing around like I just did, and find your way to the second side. No two sides are the same, so maybe you need less or more props, maybe the same. Maybe you're reversing pigeon on one side, regular pigeon on the other side. Find what works for your body. Lengthen through the spine, square the hips, widen the sit bones. Internally rotate the back leg. Your toes can curl under or lay flat. Support underneath your head at whatever height it needs to be. Melt the neck and shoulders. Come into the flow of your breath and of your energy. And if this is a difficult pose to sustain, if tension from stretching, the difficulty of opening, if there's resistance, what can you do to try to melt the resistance? To melt past imaginary boundaries. Of course, there is a boundary. There's an end point to your stretch, and you don't want to go past that. But sometimes there's some
energetic boundaries before a physical boundary. See what you can do to stay in your flow, to move and melt those boundaries.
All right, let's find our way out of there, however you see fit. We're going to, if you're not already there, you're going to come onto your back now and find whatever is going to help you move into Shavasana. So you do you. Maybe knees come to chest and you rock. Maybe happy baby, maybe a twist, maybe a bridge pose. I mean, there's so many things that you could do to kind of neutralize the pelvis and spine. So do you, which is what's calling to you. So whatever's calling to you is what you should do. And then there's no rush. When you do get around to being in Shavasana, those blankets you just had for pigeon pose, maybe you want to put them underneath your knees. Maybe you can experiment with the way your limbs want to feel on the floor. So remember that part of perseverance and sustainability is not just learning how to sustain through effort, but how to reap the reward and benefit of rest. So when you come into Shavasana, allow yourself to be in Shavasana. Suspend the need for past or future. Everything in its time will come. But right now, you're just resting. There's nothing else but resting. So as you melt your limbs downward, see what it feels like to drop the bones. Once again, coming into the flow of energy and breath. Soften your skin. Melt the tension that might be in your face. So allow the skull to rest on the floor. Let the brain rest on the skull. Melt through the eyes. Melt through the ears and jaw. Relax your throat. Melt your shoulders. The base of the skull. Your tongue.
Let's begin to deepen our breathing one more time. Come into the flow. Allow a sense of movement to come. Maybe you're doing a big stretch, maybe no stretch, maybe small little stretch. Let's go ahead and find a big breath. Haul your air out and come onto your side. Use your arms to help sit up when you're ready. Take your time. As you come to a comfortable seat, bring your palms together at your heart. And just take a moment to offer your energy, this sanctuary of your practice, whatever you've cultivated. Let's offer it out, share. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.